all the news you need to know from our inbox to yours. I'm Matthew McGrorty, the videographer and podcaster here at Commexis, and today I'm joined by the lead strategist at Commexis, Phillip Brooks.
Good morning.
So our first story for today, Amazon, there's some numbers from Amazon by Feedvisor. They did a survey of more than 1,500 Amazon shoppers, and one of the big numbers that I pulled from this study, and there's a couple more that I'll discuss, was that 44% of all respondents always check Amazon prices before purchasing a product from another brand or retailer site. And when making purchases on the platform, price, free shipping, and positive product reviews remain the top three considerations. But in the study, they mentioned that there's a couple more factors. So me and Phillip were discussing this a little bit before the show, and you think it's a little low.
I do think that's quite low. And I consider myself a fairly savvy retail shopper, considering e-commerce, and I always check at least two sources, and Amazon is almost always one of them.
Yeah.
I find it very difficult to believe there's a lot. I mean, unless it's a very specialty niche retail, that they're going to get the price better than what Amazon's going to get you. Especially if you're a Prime member and you get your free shipping and you're easy to do returns and all that stuff. It's just so convenient. So that number seems somewhat low to me.
Yeah, I agree. I as a Prime member, I normally check Amazon first, and then depending on what I'm buying, I may check eBay, especially if I'm just looking for something online. Typically, whatever I'm buying might be a little bit harder to find depending on what it is. So one of the statistics they mentioned is that 85% of Prime members visit Amazon at least once a day, and more than half, which was 56% of non-Prime members, report the same. So while I can't say I visit Amazon every day, I certainly do go on at least every other day, if not probably.
Yeah, I would say I'm just as frequently on there as well. And we use Prime a lot. I mean, I have probably a box at my door every other day or so. Something's we order something for our baby, or she needs diapers, stuff like that. We do use the Amazon pantry stuff as well. So it's it's for us it's almost a vital part of what we do. My wife and I both work full time, so it eliminates the need to do a lot of that shopping and make a lot of those extra stops on the way home from work and stuff. So again, I'm fairly surprised about that, but also I'm sure people are willing to pay a little more for the convenience to just go right to Amazon as well. So maybe they don't shop around because they're just going to go right to Amazon regardless.
That's true. There's a couple stats about shipping, for example. One of the things that I love and most people like about Amazon is 2-day Prime shipping, as well as for occasional items. Like I know I've gotten a couple SD cards for 1-day shipping, which I did not know was a thing, and I really enjoy that it is.
I love when they surprise you with that.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
79% of Amazon shoppers report that they trust packages shipped by Amazon more than third-party sellers, which is fair. And more than 1 in 5 users, 21%, will choose a different seller if delivery takes more than 2 days. I remember I was buying a PS4 after Christmas, and I was upset that 2-day shipping meant I was going to get it on January 3rd. So I went to the shop and I spent $10 more. I went to a different seller and spent $10 more and got it there on December 31st. So I can certainly relate with this. In terms of desktop to mobile, it looks like it's 51% for desktop and 47% of consumers shop on mobile devices. That's up 6% from 41, and I can understand why. The only time I normally would buy on Amazon desktop is if I'm already on my desktop, or if I'm buying something for Kindle, they don't let you to buy that.
Yeah, that's
on
a
mobile,
pain.
which I think it's really annoying.
It is, because especially with the one-click ordering and stuff. Because a lot of times, we're a working family. I'm juggling the different credit cards that are on the account. So if I want to load something on my Kindle, now I've got to go find the desktop app, change which card is set for one click, and then go back in the Kindle and order. That is really annoying.
Yeah,
I hate
it drives
that
me
feature.
nuts. And then finally, 75% of Amazon shoppers first research products from Amazon's search bar, and nearly all Amazon shoppers, 97%, read full product descriptions before purchasing. I'm certainly one of those. So if you are listing anything on Amazon, definitely make sure that your item description is nice and in depth. I know whether it's eBay, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Walmart, whether it's Target, whether it's anything, I always want to know exactly what I'm getting, especially if you're buying electronics. I know sometimes you can get unintentional misses.
A lot of those things too can give you some interesting context clues, because I've been there. Sometimes my wife will see something she wants to buy clothing wise, and because it'll wind up being a knockoff made overseas or something like that. And if you really read the descriptions, you can generally tell when it's not written by a native English speaker, and it's almost a good clue if you're not reading through everything else to see that it's not coming from an American manufacturer and it may not be here for a month.
Yeah.
So the other thing I want to bring up is they mentioned the reviews are a factor, but for me, I can't stand how Amazon does reviews. Because if you sort by highest review, it just gives you the ones with the highest density of a full star review rather than,
highest quality.
Right, and because I mean, if you see, I'd rather see 100 pretty good reviews than 2 great reviews. And
that's fair.
So I don't know how they set that algorithm up, but I don't like how it serves up those results.
Yeah, one of the things that I do like that they do, and I think other sites should definitely get in on it, though obviously, as you mentioned, Amazon isn't perfect with their reviews, is they'll have people who you can rate reviews as helpful or unhelpful, and in addition, they have a lot of people who have like a little tag that basically says like, this person's written a lot of good content reviews. So that's just one way. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be for every product, but definitely keep an eye out if they're there, because I find that to be particularly helpful. So our second story for today is from DigiDay. Phillip, take it away.
Yeah, so Ross Bennis has this article talking about how ad retargeters are scrambling to get consumer consent with the looming advent of the General Data Protection Regulation, which is scheduled to start being enforced in May. And what's going on is that people are now, finding out that a lot of these ad retargeters need to get consent from users to actually harvest their personal data. Apple's sort of out in front with this already. They started working on, and we've talked about this a couple times, that Apple actually has their version of Safari. It only prevents third parties from tracking user data for more than 24 hours after a user visits their website. So, that's their way of kind of getting around this. Some retargeters, such as Criteo and AdRoll, are trying to sneak in. That's what basically the saying. They're sneaking in these in-browser messages that opt users into ad tracking. However, this has been declared fairly problematic by a couple of other people.
And I'll show a picture right now, actually, of what some of these messages look like that were mentioned in the DigiDay article, because I was reading something earlier in the week that had something like this, and it's definitely a very less than legitimate it feels,
right?
Especially the way some of the things are worded, and the click here to opt out, etc., seem buried. So
in the article they cite 5 ad tech industry insiders who all unanimously conclude that in-browser messages do not qualify as acquiring as a valid means of gathering a user consent. And I think the one thing that I really wanted to make sure everybody understands from this is that, they're going to be trying to find ways to get you to opt into this, because retargeting is such a valuable methodology for us in marketing and things like that. And if you're willing to give up that data to these retargeters for virtually free, more power to you. And if you're somebody who's a little less, more reticent about whether or not you want to give that data, I understand that completely. But just make sure that what the people are doing is, unified. It's fair, and the way that they're actually seeking consent from users makes sense and makes people fully aware of what they're signing up for. And I think, that's sort of what's the most problematic portion of these, just sort of hiding this stuff in these in-page ads, because honestly, people don't really understand the full breadth of what they're actually consenting to give away. And I think with a little more education on the consumer side, we'll have a lot better of an experience on the web across the board.
I agree. Well, thanks everybody for tuning into today's episode of the Commexis Cast Daily. Check us out tomorrow for more of the latest trending news. Have a great day.